A very good morning to you today, this the very 1st of July. Oh my goodness, how much the days themselves are just running. It's a crazy rush. It's always a very good delight to have you on Smart Means Business, coming in and joining us on Smart 24 TV. A very good morning. My name is Kemcha Doreen. I'm joined here by my colleague. How are you, Noah?
I'm okay. How are you?
How was the weekend?
Not bad.
Not bad?
Yeah, slow, but we got done with it.
Can you imagine today is the 1st of July?
Yeah.
We're getting right into the end of this year, considering how fast days are going.
2026 is about to reach. We're going to see a lot of chaos coming our way, so some of us got ready for this.
You literally
2020. I don't know why I don't think so much about 2025.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just going to be our way through to 2026 before
the big
crazy match comes.
I know.
The referees have been sent.
The referees have already been sent.
Yeah. They seem to be the same.
And of course there's all this war coming on right now about incumbent MPs, saying, know what, the ones who are coming onto the table to join us, stop campaigning. The campaigns have not yet been allowed.
They're just pressurizing themselves for no reason, because basically most of them are doing nothing.
Yeah.
They just seated in parliament and they have been campaigning.
They've been campaigning, but
they are the people who are invited to go for funerals.
Exactly. And every time they get there, there's something said.
Actually, one of the things you should get to know Ugandan MPs for is funerals. They do more funerals than submission of motions in parliament. They are always in functions. And if you ask them any motion they have passed, it's submitted in parliament,
yes,
you will find nothing.
You'll find nothing.
So they shouldn't complain.
They shouldn't complain, but either way, Museveni the president told them some time back, it's not your duty to bear the burden of the communities on your shoulders, because that's how you get into loans, that's how you get into making different promises that you can't keep.
I have a feeling if you go to ask some of these members of parliament about their roles, to give them just 3 roles as a member of parliament,
all of them,
they may not articulate them accordingly.
They won't.
They would not.
What percentage do you think should be able to articulate?
I don't know. I can't say percentage, but you will find them. A number of them struggling. I wish they could just be as honest as Katolo. Let Katolo Wama.
What did Katolo say? We've come to eat. Well, talking about what is happening and who is being sent and who is being stopped from campaigning, let's just give you just a hint into what is happening. It's such a great month. It's a great month coming on. We're very optimistic. Yes, the 1st of July 2024. We're going to be looking post-pandemic, really. We're going to be looking at what is happening within the African arena, within the Ugandan businesses. Have they been able to weather through, or it is a completely different thing altogether? It's very interesting, the different trends that have been going on, moving on, especially retail getting onto mobile, the use of TikTok coming in as well for marketing. So we will be just having a little bit of a banter with Noah about what is happening there. And of course, when it comes down to the stagnation for the businesses that did make it as well, we're going to have a look at some of the couple of reasons as to why they didn't make it. So Noah, you do know that quite a number of micro, small, medium enterprises in Uganda had already started struggling a little bit even before the full-blown lockdown, right? Have you had many of course we know there were closures during that time, but a number of them went into the suburbs. Have you seen quite a number of mannequins or different businesses coming to your place where you stay all throughout this time?
To be honest, COVID did not affect startups. COVID affected existing businesses. And I think it's one of the things, because after COVID, a number of people are interested in business, which they did start, but a number of businesses closed. But you see, right now, I look beyond COVID. I feel like it's now.
We can't lament forever.
We're past it. Yeah, the current challenges we're facing right now are past COVID.
No.
Yes. I feel like most of the businesses right now, some of them are dying a natural cause. Some of them are basically suffocating on the current policies, environment that has been created, and not only in Uganda, because just this month we have seen Kenya go on strike. Uganda went on strike first, and of course when Uganda coughs, East Africa catches a cold.
Yeah.
So we've seen Uganda traders go on strike. We have seen Kenya go on strike. Some people are looking at it like it was just because of the new bill, but that bill was going to have a hit on the businesses and different taxes that are happening. And then even Tanzania, that we benchmark from all the time, we are praising them for fighting corruption and focusing on development projects. Even then, they went on strike this last month. So I think right now businesses are suffocating because of the current systems that are in place that are not allowing businesses to grow.
Yeah. You do have a couple of others that actually took off during that time.
Yes.
Remember?
Yes.
You have quite a number as well that took off. It was estimated that there was a hike in retail businesses online, that quite a lot of monies were going down to data and the use of social media accounts, and those didn't have any problem during that time. Oil and gas revenues as well hit off quite well, and of course you had different key stakeholders come in and say it was immoral to actually even say that the revenues went high.
But you see, when you talk about online, not only retail businesses, but I think one of the things that, if I may look at COVID, I would like to look at the lessons that we learned beyond post effects, which I don't think we should be crying over them right now. I think the lessons learned from COVID include the fact that we were underestimating the power of online businesses. And we ignored them. Online transactions online, and we realized that's when education came out, and like, okay, we need to educate people online. We even had a program to distribute radios to families. That which never happened.
It wasn't ignoring. I think it is the fact that getting many Africans away from their business as usual to take on something that is new sometimes is a very, very difficult thing.
Which is what I consider ignoring. We ignore the changes. I'll tell you one thing, and I keep on giving people this as an example. President Museveni is one of those people who adjusts to change
very quickly.
Yes. So the guy knew digital communication is a thing to go. He stepped on it. His team stepped on it. He's the most followed person on Twitter, on X,
and that's when
at the moment.
And that's when he did in all sorts of things, by the way, which are very commendable.
Though his team somehow,
that's a good strategic
his team, I feel like also is not very comfortable with competition because they were not winning on Facebook very well. And when Facebook got viral.
But he had a couple of stunts, the push-ups and all that.
But they were beating him hands down.
But he had a couple of stunts, and it is during that time.
I agree. On Facebook, they were beating him hands down. Me, I'm a digital expert.
Let me just give you a sneak, remind you about during that time when he had those push-ups. The mere fact that the majority of Ugandans were saying, "Wow, this guy still has the energy. He still has the youth. He can do how many push-ups? He can still do it." Of course, you have the others really that came up and said, this is just comical, like stop it. But the majority literally picked up, and then even after that, I think there was a burst. There was a very good boost in the exercise that were happening all over the place, different things. So I think it catapulted.
I'll give you the analysis. Well, in the same example. So basically, social media and online transactions is what we were looking at. There were a bit of, the reason why I was giving President Museveni as an example is because a number of Ugandans ignored the force that social media came with.
Definitely.
So when COVID came, that's when they learned, like, actually I can sell online. And now it gave us that momentum to pick up with, even working from home, It
wasn't only just Uganda. It was really globally. It changed everything.
I want to focus on Uganda because our culture is an outstanding culture in some ways. Our working culture is still different from Kenyan working culture. We kind of don't adjust easily, but then when we adjust to it, we grab it.
Very high momentum.
You get there's this excitement that just comes and we do it, and then we push it. So I think,
whereas they first looked at it maybe from the aspect of entertainment, I can just get onto this and see what is happening. It is only during that time that they were able to say, you know what, the shops are not open, I have to get rid of this stock, I have to survive, I have to get some money in, so can I utilize another platform to be able to get money? And once they did, looking at the fact that you have quite a number actually coming in and saying, you know what, after that I just decided to go full time. I closed the physical premise and just moved on, and now I'm doing most of my stuff from home and actually selling online, like in the catering business.
Actually, during COVID, I do not have any challenges, financial challenges.
Kudos.
I was.
What were you doing?
I was doing work online.
Work online.
I was doing work online, and money could come in. Some of us enjoyed COVID-19 lockdown.
Well, that's good for you because quite a number were laid off.
Yes.
Quite a number.
They were laid off. And actually the work I was doing was new work. It's not that it was my actual work that I was doing before, but it was new work that would come in and someone tells you, hey, no, I need this to help me design it. And we could do.
And now you can't go back. The majority cannot go back, Yes. But businesses have been forced to take on this, to change by all means.
True.
Yeah, we've got to see quite a number. It could have been actually from the international scene, but even right here in Uganda, we've got, especially among the organizations, we've got quite a number of organizations that are, doing the half-half. You can come in during work remotely. You can come in a couple of days in a month and come into the office, but most of the times you're going to do work from home.
One of the things that I would like to emphasize with that whole arrangement is Uganda, the fact that employees struggle to respect appreciating the efforts and the value of their employees. It's a common thing. They should accept that actually someone can work from home as long as they deliver. Because to me, what is important is, have you delivered?
Yes.
If you have not delivered, I'll chop your salary. But if they can agree that you are giving somebody this amount of money, and you also know it's not the money that can be appreciated according to you. Somebody has to put in transport every day from home to work,
of which they don't want to.
You understand? You realize that some Ugandans are only working for transport to work.
True.
So to me, it's why this culture, there are some jobs that you can actually agree and say, you know what, you can even agree with that person and say, okay, I'm giving you 500,000, I want to give you 400,000, work from home. You get?
Yeah.
There's some jobs that somebody can do from home.
Yeah.
For example, people who are doing digital work.
Yeah, those ones.
You're creative. You're what? The only thing I need from you is graphics. The only thing I need from you is this and that.
And M&E.
You get. I'll tell you to work from home.
And I believe very many organizations are doing that.
Yeah, a number of organizations.
Organizations, CSOs as well. But when it comes down to our usual, state offices, all these different public offices, of course, the majority, I think, are still
a job like ours.
Physical.
A job like ours
is different.
You definitely have to brave for the morning. And
but we do remember quite a number, globally, quite a number of instances whereby there were, different recordings and different interactions between
there was Zoom streams.
Yes.
It worked. I saw a number of prominent presenters. So to me, I think that is possible. Now, like for professions like ours, communications.
Yeah.
Communications, you can work from home.
You can.
Yes, you can work from home. But you're going to find an organization that's going to tell you, I want you here every day. But actually, the only thing you're going to do is to come and sit on the desk. You get.
No, but I think right now, even the employers themselves have come to really harness that one, because you save on, you save the costs.
You save a lot.
Not only just
water,
the utilities, but you're talking about that rent. You're talking about all these feeding, the blah blah blah, and stuff like that. They get to save. So you have quite a number of them that have really embraced this
it
as well. But talking about our communication niche, let's find out what's happening in the papers for now. In the Daily Monitor, budget showdown in the Daily Monitor. Divided FDC Party 6 lost love in Bugisu sub-region. You hosted Salam Musumba some time back. What was she talking about the FDC? What is the internal? They've had quite a lot of struggles, from the comical jumping over the fence and then, trying to pull in and, penalize one of their members for receiving some monies. They've gone from bad to worse, actually. Their situation
Salam Musumba, the comments I wanted from her
were not directed in that opposition.
They were directed in the issues of corruption, government's fight against corruption, which of course she disagrees that the government is doing anything against corruption. We also had Major retired witch who was emphasizing on the efforts of the government, and she was really quite honest. So on the issue, the comment that you're talking about, did not really talk much about it. We didn't even get much into FDC.
Well, we're still looking.
Blunt opinions about.
She always does. She always does. She doesn't miss with the words. But getting down, budget showdown, and you remember last week the president literally was all daggers and sent back a couple of things. Counterclaims by the executive and parliament ahead of tomorrow's emergency house sitting to reconsider the appropriation bill returned by the president. Spotlight how money is the real power, and a fight by either party for its control is blurring otherwise clear legal mandates in budgeting. What was meant to be given, the MPs on one side said, no, there is quite a lot of expenditure here, can you please put this money? The other side, it is not needed within this department. And the chief is saying, not really, can you put back that money where it is supposed to be? Last minute increase in the executive made to the budget is worth 14 trillion. It is the mismatch of interest rather than confusion in legal mandates. Quite a lot of confusion happening this year in regards to the budget. Legislators, however, while examining the 24-25 budget, discovered that 574 billion for Matthias Magola's Day Bio Pharma Limited private business was hurted under Treasury. This, according to knowledgeable sources, raised House suspicion that finance was using Treasury services to fund otherwise ineligible expenses, and it's fighting back using the executive after being called flat-footed, a claim ministry spokesperson Jim Magunga dismissed. There's quite a lot of intrigue in this. And remember, for the last couple of weeks, you've had heads rolling over corruption. You've had quite a number of MPs being implicated. Some have been thrown in as well in regards. So there's quite a lot happening in regards to this. It's a procedural matter since the law allows it. And this is not the first. And unlikely, it's not the last time the country's chief political executive asked the parliament to redo its legislative work. What makes it a little bit complicated right now is the situation in which all this is happening, given the crackdown on what we have been mentioning about crackdown on police, crackdown on different ways in which different systems really trying to get the ship in order So all this comes at a time like that. The power of Parliament is appropriation, but they don't appropriate according to what they want without regard to the executive, which makes the initial budget proposals based on its priorities and according to a manifesto it must implement. This was said by former Minister and MP Tim Lwanga.
Okay.
Yes.
And here we are. The new taxes start today. July, 1st of July. You know, you're praising the month, but it's coming your way. So yes, new taxes start today. I'll tell you what, the taxes are good when you are the government speaking, but taxes as a payer.
Yes.
Tax will always be a burden. So, but at the end of the day, taxes have to be paid, and they're very significant in the development of the country.
And coming on this side, government targets 1.2 trillion in new taxes within this year, and it begins like
we have a huge budget.
1.2 trillion.
Yeah, but we have a huge national budget.
Yeah,
72 trillions. The government starts implementing 15-year ambitious growth plan. Those are 3 terms, and the new taxes start today. We have Mama Janet Kataha, voted Africa's most decent first lady.
What do you think? What do you think about that? What do you think about that?
About being voted?
Yeah, being voted.
I think culturally we should celebrate. Yeah. Although I want to hear, there's some things I want to hear, but right now I can definitely say, this is important to being an example to the young women.
To the
we have lost a lot of value to the young people, especially young women who have lost their decency in so many ways. They live as they want.
Moral degradation.
Moral degradation, but also. Before I focus on this, I want to be target sent. People need money. Marry your friend, Nalhima, to young girls. Potential dangers of untreated jaundice in newborns. This is a complicated health statement. Yes, something like that.
And do you know that you can't even know it unless it's most yellowing of the skin in babies and all that. It is quite an interesting thing. You can't even, sometimes you just think, oh, this is just a brown baby, the skin will take a while to return. I had quite a number of...
I'm opening my mouth on TV because you're telling me new things right now.
Well, everyone that that needs to know more insight can as well pick up their new vision and get to see what they talk about jaundice in infants.
Okay, so let me brief you shortly on the issues of taxes that are being introduced, so that you don't ask yourself where. The new taxes include government is imposed excise duty on powdered beer of 1,000 shillings per kilogram. There's also excise duty of 0.5 on the value of withdrawals of money. This one breaks my heart every time. But from platforms other than mobile money, agent banking or banking halls, increase excise duty on both petrol and diesel of 100 per litre. Now this one, the other time I was talking to the border who was charging me a lot of money. I was like, "Batongeza tax, how much?" And he was like, and he said it 100, and I'm like, so be serious. Yes. So 100, you want to charge me 1,000 because they increased one.
And once they do that, they'll never go back.
I know.
Once this has happened with taxis, once anything comes like that, whether it is an increment in 1,000 or 2,000, it will never go back.
It will never go back.
Yeah.
So increase excise duty on imported wines from 80% to 8,000. That's 8,000 per litre to 100%. So there's 100% excise duty. That's on imported wines. That is 10,000 per litre.
Luxury goods.
Luxury.
Yes,
but people are harvesting money from wines.
Yes, they are.
Imagine a bottle that you'll find. But it's funny. In some places you're going to find it at 50, then some places you're going to find it at 100,000.
It depends, apparently. But I love the fact that so many Ugandans have entered this niche. Yes.
Yeah, true.
So many, and they're really making some good money as well.
Also, excise duty of 500 shillings per 50 kilos of adhesive grout, white cement and lime was introduced. There was also an introduction of 10% withdrawing tax on commissions paid to banking agents and fintech agents. That is tax levied, and it's being implemented today. So let's know.
Be mindful. But as well, some concern coming in, but this has been literally a cyclical problem in Kampala, especially inside the lucrative and secretive business of street children. Noah, you remember how many times they have been swept off, especially the Karamajong children? Yes, and how they even put them within the buses and took them back to parts of their areas, different places where they come from, Napak and all these other places, but they still make their way back. Now, a lot of insight was given during that time and even tracked down to some of the places in Kisenyi whereby they pay per day, rent per day, who is benefiting from these cardboard, who puts up these cardboard houses that they get to stay in, or the tin houses, who manages this rent. It's almost like a syndicate. Like, people benefit from this. You know, mothers beating you if you don't bring up a particular amount per day from children. It's almost like a pimping system, whereby they send you out and you have to bring back a particular amount. A lot has been said about this, but as a ministry, the Ministry of Gender, it's saying as a ministry we decided to take lead in coming up with a national program to address the street children with 3 thematic areas. One is prevention, another is withdrawal from the streets, not only in Kampala but all cities, municipalities, even the trading centers. This was said by Mr. Fred Ngabirano, the Commissioner for Youth and Gender Affairs in the ministry. I'm just hoping that this time whatever intervention they put in will be sustainable, because clearly we've seen in the past that it hasn't really worked out that way. True. But there's booming business in that.
You follow Bride and Groom Expo?
Yep.
Who are the organizers of Bride and Groom? Is it Rachel Mwine? Who is it?
Isn't it the New Vision?
The New Vision?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's been quite at the front of this Bride and Groom. But yes, couples win big at Bride and Groom. You can get some of these details. Smiling couples here. Please get married. That we would advise you.
They say
marriage is good.
The president, please.
Marriage is very good.
The president chief advisor said this, said please, actually 22, 23 years old, begin to think about having families. 22, 23, that was his sentiment. In regards, there was a lot of excitement.
I want to agree and disagree.
There was a lot of excitement, if at all. And remember, this was said in perspective to the increasing HIV rates. If it's about, you know, HIV, populating and having...
HIV is not about being single.
It's not. Irresponsible sexual, sexual behavior. Instead of moving around from one partner to another, if you get married when it's still
I'm glad, Doreen. I'm glad the president is emphasizing young people should get married 23. But marriage these days, has become very costly. Marriage is being taxed like land. From court, you pay certificates. The other time they were cancelling about how many marriage certificates, thousands, because they wedded at wrong places. I'm told. I mean, let marriage be simplified.
It's unless
marriage from the state to the traditions,
in church,
to customary.
Yes,
everything is
with
getting out of hand for young people.
But there are some families, down from the introduction upwards, there are quite some families that are unfair, but you also have others that are really relaxed about it. I haven't really...
Trust me, for as long as we still have this kind of arrangement in Uganda, when it comes to marriage, I'm not discouraging anyone, but it's a reality. It's why young people are not getting married. Marriage, from the process of getting married to the process of managing it, you know very well, it's getting costly for young people. Young people are scared of getting married. It's not that they don't want to get married. Is it because
of the initial costs towards getting married?
Exactly.
Or let's first talk about the initial costs. Bring this, bring that. How much is it? 10 million, 20 million, 30, 40, 50, all that. Initial cost just getting into marriage. And then when you get into marriage, of course, then you have
to make sure that you also maintain.
You have the different dynamics that are so blurred, and most couples are failing to balance it out, unfortunately. Yes.
So it's a reality. As the president says young people should get married, I think some of these things should be addressed.
Counseling, talk to families, let there be, this time they had talked about bride price being scrapped off, and then of course you have those cultural leaders coming in and saying this is a huge part of who we are as Ugandans. But some of these things really have to be looked at in entirety. You can't come in and say, okay, fine, to just an upstarter, 23 years old, 22, little young man has just started working, and then you're saying bring 35, 40 million.
But I'll advise, please get married. Let's get married.
Let's take a short break and we'll be right back after
Marriage
this
is
message.
good. Marriage is very good.
That's not how you started off. Let's take a short break.